Good afternoon from Amsterdam. The time is 3 p.m. So we are about to start with our webinar regarding the call for proposals of the CFC. People are still joining us, so a few moments of your patience before we proceed. Right, so we are mostly all set. Welcome everyone to this webinar for the open call for proposals by the CFC. My name is Andrei Kuleshov. I'm a Chief of Strategy and Development at the CFC. And here with me, we have Mr. Chris Rallis, who is the investment manager of the CFC. So together, we will be guiding you through this presentation. The time is scheduled for 1 hour. Also in the background, there are a few colleagues working who monitor the meeting room. So if your name changes or if you're muted, please bear with us. They are assisting us to have a productive meeting. Now, I'm sure everybody is already familiar with the Zoom platform, but just in case, some technical notes. If for whatever reason you lose the connection, you can simply reconnect with the same credentials. It is a lot easier for us to respond to questions using the chat function, because more than one of my colleagues can respond to your questions. Please do not hesitate to post your questions in the chat box. Please keep your sound muted unless you are going to speak. We are going to go through the whole presentation first, and then hopefully there will be some space for questions and answers. So we aim for an interactive discussion. Now, proceeding to the presentation itself, we will try to answer the basic questions that people have about the Common Fund for Commodities. So who we are, what we do, why is it that we focus on commodities, how does the CFC open call for proposals works, and how to complete the application form to apply for financial support from the CFC for your investment project. A few words about the organization. It's not widely known, but the CFC exists since 1989. It is an intergovernmental financial institution established within the framework of the United Nations. The CFC currently counts 101 member countries, and the CFC operations must be located in member countries. The CFC also has a number of organizations as its members, including the European Union, the African Union, Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa Development Community, Andean Community, Caribbean Community, East African Community, and so on. The CFC has existed for 34 years in active operations, and we have financed over 500 projects to the total value of, actually, it's now approaching 1 billion. Since 2014, the CFC focuses on its identity as an impact investor. And we have invested over 50 million in 50 loans, current commitments outstanding standard 38 million. And at different times, we had activities in 99 countries. The CFC is a fairly small organization despite its large outreach. We are based in Amsterdam, and we do not have any regional offices. So all the communication go through our offices in Amsterdam. We are accessible remotely by email, by video conferencing, and so on. And we do visit all our investment locations for review and analysis. Now, the focus of the CFC is on commodities. Being established as part of the UN system, the Common Fund is part of the global development community. And that means that we aim at eradicating poverty. We count that commodity dependence is the root of poverty for over 2 billion people worldwide. The estimates may vary, but 2 billion is probably a very conservative estimate of the number of people who are poor worldwide because of their reliance on production and trade of primary commodities. The operational modality of the CFC is impact investing in commodity value chains innovation. So I will show you more details about it. This is the fundamental approach that the CFC takes. And we look to transform the commodity value chains towards greater equity and sustainability. Now, as to the mission of the CFC, as I just mentioned, we aim to eradicate poverty. Our efforts combined with other international organizations, with other sponsors, donors of development. And our specific vision is to diversify the commodity sector, to strengthen income generating capacity of commodities for the primary producer seeking greater equity in the global commodity value chains. So from this philosophy, the CFC has developed a very specific impact model that's on the screen, and that's probably one of the most important diagrams today. At the center of the diagram, and I'm looking for a pointer, at the center of the diagram, there are small and medium enterprises. So the CFC fundamentally invests in small and medium enterprises which are active in the commodity sector. The specific feature of this activity of the small and medium enterprise is that it's sourcing from smallholder farmers, from the poor people who depend on commodities, and provides a connection to high value markets, creating added value, creating income for the people at the grassroots of the commodity value chains. So these are the small and medium enterprises that we aim to support, and we can invest in any part of their operations, including downstream marketing, distribution, and sales, upstream buying, logistics, and input. And at the processing stage, we can invest in storage, we can invest in innovation in processing technologies, we can invest in quality control, we can invest in certification, and so on. So anything that can support a small and medium enterprise in this mission of connecting primary producers of commodities to the high-value global market is our target for investment. And the CFC offers that you see on the left side, a significant part of our operations is in trade finance. We can do CapEx loans for capital expenditure in those cases where we can see the evidence that this will work. We can and we do invest in working capital of small and medium enterprises. And we do have a selection of quasi-equity instruments, which are tailor-made for specific cases. So they are very specialized, like development impact bonds and so on. So the basic question that people most frequently ask in these webinars is my project eligible? And the first stop is to check, is it consistent with this diagram? So the investment eligible proposal would aim to make an investment in a small and medium enterprise that operates in the commodity sector by connecting the primary producers of commodities, the small and medium enterprises, to the high value markets by improving one or more of its operations, storage, marketing, logistics, quality control, any kind of innovation, and distribution and sales and storage and so on. So again, this is probably the most important slide that we needed to discuss today. And now we can move on to the call for proposals. Basic questions again, what are we looking for and how the application process looks. The CFC aims currently at the agricultural commodity sector. In principle, it's not prohibited for the CFC to invest in non-agricultural commodities, but this is a simple statement of the fact that most of the demand for our projects comes from the agricultural sector, and our size and operational modalities are most suitable for the agricultural sector. A frequent question is, can we invest in this form of enterprise and in that form of enterprise? And the answer is yes, as long as there is a legal personality behind the enterprise. So the enterprise needs to be able to sign a legally binding agreement with the Common Fund for Commodities to receive financing from the CFC. It could be a cooperative, it could be a business, it could be I don't know, it could be a trading company, anybody who operates in the commodity sector. We recognize our limits in terms of being small, and we prefer to focus on proposals which are innovative, where our small intervention can make a big difference. Therefore, we'll look at areas requiring a lot of innovation today, and that's agroforestry, climate-smart agriculture, renewable energy, food security, biodiversity, digitalization of agricultural commodity sector, any steps towards financial inclusion, and anything else that may come to mind in this regard. Also, in its identity as impact investor, the CFC would like to stay an investor. Meaning that the proposals that are successful in seeking financing from the CFC must be financially viable. So in the proposal, we will look for the data, for the information, for the projections that confirm the expectation of financial sustainability of the enterprise after the exit by the CFC, so that the CFC money does not create aid dependency, for example, and that the CFC money can be repaid from the proposed operation of the enterprise. So this financial viability allows the CFC to recycle its resources, and the resources recovered from one enterprise go to support the next enterprise in the open call for proposals. Moving on to the application process. We operate the open call on a half-annual, six-monthly basis. So there are two deadlines in a year, in April and September. Now, end of this September is the deadline for the 27th call for proposals. Approximately 6 month lead time is because of this cyclicity of our process. And we will contact those proponents receiving serious consideration by the CFC Secretariat if we need any supplementary information. When you submit an application form to the CFC, the first step that happens is screening by the CFC Secretariat, where somebody will read your complete proposal and will complete a checklist to confirm that it meets the basic criteria, basic requirements of the CFC, as I was explaining them in the previous slides. The proposals that are found suitable for the CFC model will be considered by the consultative committee of the organization. The committee is composed of 9 independent experts from all over the world, from different commodity sectors, appointed by the executive board of the CFC in their personal capacity to advise the CFC if the proposal will work. Twice a year, the consultative committee will meet and review the batch of proposals received in the call. If the committee makes a positive recommendation on the proposal, we will come back to you with any conditions that the consultative committee most frequently specifies. So we recommend this to be considered, but we require this, and that to be clarified. Then the CFC Secretariat will come back to you and ask you the right questions. Please clarify, for example, what prices are you going to pay to the primary producers of commodities? Or how will you defend against the market volatility as you're selling your products, and so on. So if all the questions are answered in a satisfactory fashion, we will make a submission to the executive board of the organization, and the executive board decides on financial commitments of the CFC in support of the project proposal. Once you get this positive decision, please realize that the decision is made on the basis of the documentation submitted to the CFC so far. We will only proceed to verify and do due diligence on an organization if a decision is made by the executive board that the CFC can make a commitment to finance this. So there will be some conditions specified in the executive board decision, and we will come back to the proponents requesting the confirmation that these conditions can be met. Then we proceed to the legal documentation for the disbursement of the CFC financing, and that includes agreement on the term sheet, due diligence on site. Somebody from the CFC Secretariat will travel to the location to check the facts contained in the application, draft the contract, finalize the contract, sign the contract, and you can call for CFC financing to be disbursed. So a lot of words, but to put this down in a consistent picture, in front of you, this is the calendar for the current call for proposals. So by 29 September, we must receive application forms. If the application form comes after that date, it will have to be considered in the next cycle. Between October and December, we will read all the proposals and we will complete the screening checklists. In December, we must submit qualifying proposals to the consultative committee, and the consultative committee will review them in the last week of January 2026. If we have questions during that period, we will come back to you and ask those questions. If the consultative committee makes a positive recommendation, we will come back to you to discuss the key terms and conditions to be met before submission to the executive board. And the executive board meets in April 2026 to decide on financial commitment of the CFC to the proposal. So this is the rough outline. We get something by September. In January, the consultative committee will consider technical feasibility, and in April, the executive board will decide on financial commitments by the CFC. So this is what the process looks like. And now I would like to invite my colleague, Chris, to take us through the application form. What is it that we require you to submit to us to start this process?
Thank you very much, Andrei, and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Chris, and what I will do for you today is that I will walk you through the CFC application form, and I will share with you some tips and information on how to write an effective funding proposal and why not a successful one. I'll let you know that we do see your questions and we will try to answer them along the way. If we don't, we will do it in the end, okay? So let's start with the next slide, please. Before I start, a few things that you need to know, and they told me that I should convey to you. Number one, no fees at the application stage, which means that the CFC will not charge you any fees during the application stage. Number two, we can only process applications that provide us with adequate and efficient number of information for us to consider. Number three, upon your submission, we will consider your application and we will try to respond to you within 3 months. Next, we do have an exclusion list and for our activities, and yeah, we can finance pretty much everything across the agricultural value chain, as Andre said. But if you have a nuclear factory in your farm or in your factory, unfortunately, we cannot help you. Our exclusion list is in our website. Finally, we do have a confidentiality clause in our application, so we will not share your information with nobody apart from our consultative committee, our executive board, and our governing council. So let's go to the next slide, please, Andre. Let's now delve into the application form, the one that you will need to submit. Before I start, again, just a small tip here, less is more. Try to be concise in your writing, try to keep your application within the 20-page limit that we have. Why I'm saying that? It's because we are a small team processing a very high number of applications at the one hand, and on the other hand, we don't want to over burden you with this application. The main focus is to have sufficient information to understand your business case. And it will be followed by a complete and comprehensive due diligence at a later stage. Now, the first chapter of the application form called organization background. Now, in this one, first section 1.1, organization profile, what we would like you simply is to write down the name of your organization, the legal type of the organization or company, who are the founders, and when and where was this organization incorporated. Just a simple example, the Common Fund for Commodities is an intergovernmental financial institution based in Amsterdam, and it was established in 1989. That's it, pretty much. Just one sentence, nothing more, nothing less. In section 1.2, location and target market, what we would like you to do here is to write down the country or countries that you're operating in, and also which are the countries that you focus, which is your focus markets. Now, why do we do that? It's really important for us because this section is actually the way we check if you're actually eligible for CFC financing. So please be reminded that we can only finance companies and organizations that are either based in CFC member countries or that they have operations in CFC member countries. The full list of our CFC member countries is also available in our website. And finally, in 1.3 section, brief summary of the financing objectives. What we would like you to do here is to provide us with a short summary of your financing objectives. This means that we want to know what do you want to achieve with CFC financing. Try to be a little descriptive, give us an overview, a concise overview, and maybe you can use some bullet points to highlight the basic points of your application. Let's go to the next slide, please. Now, this is the chapter 2 in our application form, and this one concerns actually the type of financing instruments that the CFC has available for you. Before we go into detail into the specific instruments, let me share with you a couple of rules that guide our work here in the CFC. So first one that we have, the CFC share of financing does not exceed 50%. That means that CFC funds should at least be matched by other sources of funding. These could be other loans that you might have or you are going to have. It could be equity, and it could be also retained earnings in the future. Uh, Several people find this rule confusing, so I always try to illustrate it with a couple of examples. Let's say you're a company, you already have some loan facilities with local banks, but you need extra working capital for your activities. Are you eligible for CFC financing? Of course you are. Why? Your existing facilities will be matching the CFC facility. Also, let's say uh, you don't have any loans, but you have already invested in your company in building factories or providing equity to the company. Are you eligible for CFC financing? Yes, of course you are. Why? Because the equity you provided in your company matches CFC funding. Uh, I also try to invite people here to be a little creative. In case you have any question on this issue, please reach out to us and we can, of course, guide you, but let it not stop you from applying. We are relatively innovative ourselves, and we can find always a solution to move ahead. Now, as I said earlier, the CFC financing should always be matched. This should be evident in your financials or your financial projections. So if you are saying that you already have loans in your balance sheet, we would like to be able to see that in your balance sheet. Number three, the normal term of the loan is 3 to 5 years of duration. So this is very important. Why? In principle, the CFC enters only into long-term partnership agreements. That means that in the end of the day, we will be signing with you a framework agreement for 3 or even 5 years. This concerns also our short-term financing solutions, for example, our trade finance solution or our working capital solutions. Those are typically have a tenure of 12 to 18 months, but in our case, they are annually renewable for up to 5 years. Now, the final question probably you would like to answer is, what are the interest rates that the CFC is charging to its investees? Yeah, so in CFC, we have a very transparent way of calculating our interest rates. So what we do is we take into consideration the country credit risk plus the company specific risk minus an impact premium. Now, this is a complex formula for most of you, but it's actually very simple. It's in reality, it's translated as we are always cheaper than the local financial system, and we tend to be on the cheaper side among other impact investors and also development finance institutions. In our current portfolio, our interest rates range from about 6% going up to 12%. But here you have to know that it concerns several different countries, many of which are fragile countries. And we also finance some very high risk activities in agriculture. Let's go to the next slide, please. And now we are going to see a little more about our financing instruments here in the CFC. And we start with trade finance. This should be familiar to coffee exporters, cocoa exporters, and in general, people in more developed value chains. What is trade finance? It's short-term financing for the execution of specific client orders. This could range from disbursement against documents, But it could be also that the CFC disperses its funds already at the time when the company needs to source its raw material from the farmers. Now, what is important for you to know here is that since trade finance is always linked to the execution of specific uh, purchase orders, we would like to know more about your clients. Now, you will tell me, Chris, at the moment that we're doing the application, we don't have this information because we plan to do this activity in 6 months or in 1 year. That's fine. We just need an indicative description on the clients you are normally working at. Now, why this is important? Because the structure is based on a tripartite repayment instruction between the CFC, uh, your client, and of course you as the investee. What is the big advantage of trade finance facility is that in normal cases, we don't require any other form of collateral. Let me give a short example of how trade finance work. Assume you are a cocoa company based in Cote d'Ivoire and has a client in the Netherlands. What we can do as CFC is provide you with a pre-financing to buy the cocoa beans from the farmers, and then you execute the purchase order to your client in the Netherlands. The basis of this facility will be the purchase order per se. All the repayments will flow from your client to the CFC and then to you. The normal amounts that we offer for trade finance range between 300,000 USD or euro and going up to 2 million. The tenure, as said earlier, it's 12 months, but annually renewable for up to 5 years. On the side, you will see a little box saying confirm name of country of buyers. Here you can write some indicative names or just the countries that you export at. Now, working capital. What is working capital? A more flexible, untied, short-term financing solution that we have here in the CFC. In this case, the CFC exercises less control over the cash flow of the company, but in this case, we would require a stronger collateral, which could be a pledge on receivables, a pledge on inventory. We could consider a collateral management facility, or we could simply take a third-party guarantee, such as a bank guarantee or a corporate guarantee. Now, the rule of thumb here is that the longer the cash cycle of the company, the more securities we would likely ask from you. The tenure for working capital facilities goes up to 18 months, again, annually renewable for up to 5 years. The amounts are the same from 300,000 up to 2 million. Now, term loans. Term loans are the classic product. Probably everyone is familiar with that. Concerns loans for capex investments. Imagine here the construction of a factory or warehouses, the purchase of machinery, and other relevant activities. Now, the tenure for this case is again 5 years, and we very regularly offer a 2-year grace period. Let's go to the next slide, please. Equity. Equity is part of the CFC mandate. I have to tell you though that at the moment we do not do equity investments directly to companies. What we do though is investments to other impact investment funds which have a riskier profile than the CFC. Imagine here impact funds focused on in agri-tech, in agriculture, like with high rich commodities such as meat production or dairy and other relevant activities. We will go through to your question in the end of this presentation, just a reminder, and we go to the next facility, which is our development impact bond. Now, before I move to that one, I forgot to say that if you are an impact fund and you're looking for financing, please use the box of equity and please reach out to us. We will definitely be interested to hear more about you. As we're moving forward, the development impact bond is one of our recent innovations, and it's actually one of the first facilities of this type in the world. So what is the DEEP, as we call it here in the CFC? The development impact bond is an outcomes-based financing instrument. And when we talk about outcomes, we mean real, tangible, and measurable impact on the ground. This instrument was designed particularly to unlock financing for international organizations, non-profit organizations, NGOs, public agencies, but even private sector agents such as development consultancies or even companies. Now, how the DEEP works in reality is very simple. If you are working in an impact project and you are already having a donor, but this donor is not willing to provide you the pre-financing for the project at hand, the CFC would consider to provide that pre-financing on the basis that it will be later repaid by your donor. If you have an interesting idea over the development impact bond, a structure that could be interested, please feel free to reach out to us. We are currently looking into several cases, and we are always willing to expand our portfolio in this area. Let's go to the next slide, please, which is actually the last instrument. So our fast track loans ranging from 50 to 30, 100,000. Traditionally, this is one of the most competitive facilities of the CFC. Why? Because it serves really small ticket sizes under 300,000. So, as you understand, we reserve that for highly innovative with high impact potential and high additionality for the CFC. This facility is open again for international organization, public agencies, but also let's say you're a small company and you need the trade finance facility as we described earlier, but the amount you need is less than 300 finance. So this is actually the instrument you might want to consider. What is the big advantage of fast track loans is actually the time it gets to approve them. It's shorter. So that's the benefit, and we move ahead to the next slide. Yeah, the next chapter of the application form, management and operation, starting with section 3.1. Management and ownership. What we want you to do here is basically provide us the names of the people managing your company or organization, who are the key people running the company, and what is their specific role and job title. Also, does your company or organization have a board of directors? Are there any other corporate committees, for example, a remuneration committee or an audit committee available? Please, this is information that are very relevant to understand your corporate structure. You can provide those information either by text, but I would suggest that it's easier to actually provide a simple graph. In addition to that, here we would like you to provide us with information about who are the shareholders of the company and how is ownership of the company divided between the shareholders. Also, is your company a holding company that owns other companies? Or maybe your company is owned by other companies, or it is part of a larger group. This is very relevant information. Again, you can provide this information either by text or by simple graph. You may consider an org chart or maybe a simple table that describes the shareholder ownership structure. In section 3.2, current business model, what we need here is a high level description of what the company does. Now, please assume that we know nothing about you and nothing about the value chain that you are working. For the CFC, you are the experts in your line of work, in your value chain. So please start from the basic. Information that you can include here are, for example, the type of products that you produce or trade or services that you offer, the type of raw materials that you are sourcing from farmers, and how are you doing this sourcing? What kind of processing activities are you undertaking, and what is the volumes of those processing activities? How many employees do you have in your company? In addition to that, don't forget to explain to us who are your end clients and in which countries do you export, if you export. Now, the key for this section is to actually include numbers and figures. Consider, for example, export volumes per year, or volumes of products sourced from farmers per year, and other relevant numbers that can help us understand your business case. Next slide, please. Yeah, market opportunity. It's the next slide. And in general, what we ask here is what is the market and the environment where your company operates in, and how your company fits into that market. Now, let's start unpacking a little this one. So in section 4.1, market position and competitors, what we want you to explain is the basic characteristic of the market you operate in, both at a local level, but also at an international level if it's relevant for your operation. Think about information such as, is it a very competitive market? Are there many companies doing the same thing as you? Or are you the only one offering the specific product or the specific service at your country, at your region, or internationally? Other things that you might want to include here is information like, how is the price competition in this market? What is are the prices very competitive? Are the prices very volatile? And what is the price mechanism in your value chain? Is it a spot market, or is it a market where contracts are based on long-term agreements? Please also try to explain in detail the products you offer, and describe to us, if it's possible, your main competitors. You could include number of companies that you know and that you're aware of operating in the same value chain as you. And if you have information about them, for example, about market share or volumes, please feel free to include this in this part of the application form. One tip here, usually public agencies in countries, they do have some relevant data. For example, in the case of coffee, usually the coffee agencies, the local coffee agencies, publish export volumes and the volumes per client and per export company. So you might want to do a little search in the internet, and you might find some information. Now, section 4, can we go to the previous slide, please? Thank you. Section 4.2, key strengths of your business model. So what do we ask here? This is where you actually showcase your business case and your model. So you try to list the strengths of your company or organization. Feel free to think creatively. For example, do you have a niche product or a very high quality product that differentiates you from your competitors? Uh, do you have only one product that you offer, or maybe you have many products, which means that you are very diversified? Do you have a unique selling proposition relative to your competitors? Things also that you can consider adding here is there a government policy that is very beneficial for your line of work? For example, there might be a subsidy in place or a guarantee provided by the government to relevant loans to entities like yourself. Or it could be the case that your country has signed a free trade agreement with your export destination. Finally, you could also include all the certificates you have. Those are very important nowadays. You could consider certificates such as organic certifications, fair trade, rainforest alliance, BRC certificates, ISO certificates. And at the moment, we are really interested to looking into companies that are have some form of certification in regenerative agriculture. Uh, Also, don't forget one more time in this part to underline your sourcing strategy. How do you source your raw materials? What we need to know is first that you have a supply chain that is secured, but we also want to see what is your impact on the smallholder farmers, because this is what the CFC is looking uh, uh, in lieu to its mission. What we want is impact for our farmers in our member countries. Let's move to the next. Oh no, before we move, we have one final chapter, the obstacles. This is relatively clear. Every company has some obstacles, some shortcomings. You could consider to list a couple of those, self-reflect, unusual problems that you might want to consider. Can you find enough employees for your operations? Can you have enough qualified employees for your line of work? Also, could you find available transportation means? For example, containers for your export activities? Those are all relevant to include here. Let's go now to the chapter 5. Chapter 5 is actually a reflection of the previous chapter. So what we want to see here is basically how will the company look after the CFC provides the financing. So let's try to deconstruct a little this. So starting with section 5.1 proposed business model, what we want to understand is, are there any changes in your business after receiving CFC financing? Will you be changing your business strategy? Are you going to introduce, for example, new products, new services, or innovative products? And moving ahead to 5.2 section client base, what we want to see here, what is going to happen with your client base? Are you going to reach out to new clients, or are you going to simply increase the volumes of the sales to your existing clients? Also, are you considering to entering new markets or new geographies? This is what we're looking in this part. And also going ahead to the next section, supply. Uh, this is where we want to understand your supply chain. As we said earlier, we're looking for impact of farmers. So what we want to know here is, are you going to purchase more of your materials from your existing farmers, or are you going to incorporate more farmers in your business model? Are you going to work on the basis of a spot market, or are you going to sign formal agreements, offtake agreements with them? Again, this is important because this is where we find the additionality of the CFC financing. Before we finish this chapter, what is the impact in production process in section 5.4? Here, what we want to know is if there is any change in your production capacity. Are you going to buy more machinery? Are you going to buy better machinery or innovative machinery? Are you going to increase your processing volumes per day or per year? Now, my suggestion here is, if you have available these numbers, better include the numbers than writing a text. Now, finally, in this chapter, innovation. Now, for many people, innovation means different things. Huh? In CFC, we have a very holistic approach towards innovation. So what do we consider innovation? Innovation for us, it could be a new technology that you are introducing to your country or globally, but it could be also a new business model that hasn't been tested before in your country or in your region. It could also be high impact innovative projects. For example, it could be agroforestry related projects or food security related projects. It could be agtech projects. It could also refer to carbon credit creation, innovative ways of providing financing to smallholder farmers. The list here is endless. So I invite you to think over about it and find the innovative aspects of your business or organization. There's always something there. Let's move to the next slide. And I will pass this one to Andre.
Yes. The CFC as impact investor obviously takes impact as an essential part of the project proposal. Thank you, Chris. And in section 6, we provide you some guidance how to explain the impact model that your proposal is going to deliver. Now, we do have a number of core sustainable development goals where we seek you to identify specific indicators that will track how your project will contribute to the delivery of those sustainable development goals. This is all listed in the application form. We do ask you to identify the primary beneficiary group and to give us some idea of its poverty profile. So, for example, the level of income, the particular problems that they are experiencing, anything that you can tell us to demonstrate that they will benefit from the proposal. We are also required to track the social and environmental risks. So if your proposal is successful, then we will come with social and environmental due diligence as part of our regular due diligence checks. So it helps to identify those risks from the start in section 6.4. As far as the indicators are concerned, we provide a sample, a selection of indicators in the spreadsheet attached to the application form. We follow the IRIS Plus model developed by a consortium of international agencies. The website address is on the screen. It's a massive database of various indicators. So by all means, we suggest you choose just a few indicators which characterize your proposal best in terms of your impact. And I don't think I need to say anything more about it. So we should proceed to the financial performance indicators. That's the last part of the presentation. Thank you, Chris.
You're
Chris,
muted, Chris.
microphone.
Sorry for that. Let's start again and let's try to take it a little faster, this part, so we have some room for questions. So before I go to the next chapter, financial performance, please be reminded that apart from this application form, you will be required to submit an Excel sheet with your financial information, the historical financial, plus your projections, plus the impact indicators that Andre just mentioned. So what do we ask in chapter 7? We don't want a financial analysis. What we want is the story behind the numbers. So starting from 7.1, historical financial statements, what we need is basically how did you manage to get to the point of revenues you are now? And how did you achieve the sales growth you had in the past? Was it because prices were improving along the way? Was it because you were exporting more or selling more? This is the information we're looking for. And the same goes for section 7.2, which is the projections. basically what we want to ask if you have certain assumptions, for example, on sales growth, on increasing your balance sheet or whatever. What we want is the story. How are you going to achieve that? Do you expect to reach new markets? Do you expect to improve your margins? Do you expect better prices in the future for your commodity? How can you do that? In both those two sections, what you can do is actually share with us a couple of bullet points on the basic items of your financial statements. Now, in section 7.3, which is for me one of the most important ones in the application form, is the sources of funding and additionality for the CFC. What do we ask here? Here we ask a simple list of your financiers, both the local banks and international investors, if you have any, that provide you with loans or any other form of financing uh, uh, at the moment of the application. What we need specifically is a very simple table where you will list the name of the investors, the amounts dispersed to you, the maturity date of the loans, the tenure that you have agreed upon, and also the interest rate. Now, probably you will be wondering, Chris, are you asking this information so that you can bargain later when we will be discussing the loan agreement? No, that's not the purpose. As we said earlier, the CFC is always trying to tailor its approach in financing instruments. That means that we need to find what extra, what additionality can the CFC offers to your case. So we want this information to actually be relevant and be adjusted to your operations. And finalizing this part, 7.4 main risk and mitigants. So let's take it fast, this one. There are risks in every kind of operations, in every kind of trades. You might want to consider those and list them here, but also provide us with some mitigants. Now, there are very regular risks that we find among our investees. First of all, is currency risk. And for example, in this case, the mitigant could be that you sell your product in foreign markets. So you're getting paid in hard currency. That means that the Forex risk is mitigated. Other risks you might want to consider could be climate change, excessive rainfall, or for example, droughts impact your operations. What would be the mitigant there? Maybe your farmers are using smart agricultural practices or better seedlings or anything that improves their climate resilience. Again, here, you don't have to be excessive, just a few risks just to understand what the company faces on the ground. Let's go to the next slide, please. Here you see the example of the Excel sheet that you have to fill with your historical financial statements. Here you can see the P&L and also the projections for the P&L, the profit and loss statement. I believe that most of the entrepreneurs among us know how to fill up this Excel sheet. For NGOs, I understand sometimes it's more difficult, but if you ask your accountant, he will advise you on how to fill it up. It's not that hard. If you have any questions though, please reach out to us. Next slide. Yeah, the same goes for the balance sheet. You have to add both historical balance sheet information and projections. We don't have to say anything more about that. And let's go to the next slide, please. The supporting document checklist, which is the final chapter in the application form. Personally, I would advise you to start and end your application with this chapter. Why? Because here you have the information that you are required to provide. So don't forget, we need to receive your audited financial statements for the last 3 financial years. If you don't have audited financial for one reason or another, please submit what you have and we will take it into consideration. Also, don't forget the application form we were just going through. The Excel sheet with your financial projections and your historical financials, plus the impact indicators. Don't forget your company registration documents. And finally, if you didn't do it in the chapter we discussed earlier, provide the legal ownership structure of all entities in your group or in your company. If you have any other documents or information that you think that are relevant for us to understand your business case, please share it. There is no limit. So if you have, for example, a company presentation, a business plan, an investment pitch deck, maybe you have the resumes of your managing directors, or your articles of association, or maybe you have conducted an environmental and social impact assessment, please do share them. They are helpful for us. I mean, we are looking into application. The more information we have, the better for us. And let's go to the next slide, please. Yeah. Finally, you close the application with a couple information that you need to share. Your registration number, your address, the name of the organization, the website. Don't forget to attach an email that we can use to reach out to you. And let's go to the final slide. Affirmations, we don't have to make any comment here. So I think we are done. I believe we went through all the items. I will be really happy to see some of your questions. We tried to answer a few of them from the chat box, but please, let's go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chris, and thank you all for the questions that we indeed tried to respond to in the chat box. One question that comes up most often is this recorded? Is the recording available and will the slides be shared? Yes, this will all be shared. The recording will be available. We will send the link to all registered participants. So everybody who is participating must have registered with the email address. So we have the list. We will share this with everybody on this list. Further questions about eligibility of this or that particular type of project proposal. Again, the operational model of the CFC is the impact model of the CFC is this. So if it's a small and medium enterprise connecting primary producers to high value markets in a CFC member country, please complete an application form and we will review and come back with the questions. We will not be able to answer general questions without seeing the application form. At the same time, please do feel free to email us at the apologies, I just lost the presentation. My apologies for that. I will bring it back in a moment because it contains the email address where you can reach out to us to ask any questions. Okay, opencall@commonfund.org. This is a real attended email address. There's always somebody reading whatever comes there, and we strive to respond to every message that we receive on this address. So please do not hesitate to ask your questions by writing to us. I am now trying to see if there are any questions that we could still answer without prolonging this. Okay, I see.
There is one question that I would like to answer, Andre.
Please, Chris, go ahead.
One of our participants asks if we are not registered in a CFC member country, but we have operations in CFC member countries, am I eligible? Yes, of course. For example, if let's say you are a company based in the United States, which is not a CFC member country, but all its operations are, for example, in Uganda, you are in principle eligible to apply for CFC financing, as long as the funding goes to Uganda and not to US.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there is a very practical question. What happens in the case of bankruptcy or project failure? The answer is we proceed to recover, but we only enter into a project if we can see in documents reasonable evidence that this project will fly. I hope you will understand that we would not be allowed to make an investment into a project that is doomed to fail. So questions about early stage, it would be very lengthy to answer this in writing. Basically, if an enterprise is only in existence for a year or two, you do not have the completed audited statement for 3 years, but you have management with decades of evidenced experience in the same area of operations. Please indicate this on the application form that this is a company that's newly created, but it's created by people who have been in the business for many years, and this can be evidenced that they have been successful in this business. We had cases like that. So we do have, I do recognize that we have 2 questions to be asked by voice, but I think I will have to ask you to email your questions to us, because we are now 5 minutes beyond the time that we originally planned. So again, the email address is on the screen. Please write to us. Chris, anything?
Andre, let's take the question from Mr. Espoir,
Okay,
because he
okay,
was the
fine.
first one that
Yes,
actually
yes.
raised his
Okay,
hand or in the start of the presentation.
okay,
Mr.
okay.
Espoir or Mrs. Espoir?
My questions is to know how company can be in a consortium to submitting of these projects. How much company can miss consortium to submit it in these projects, please?
I think I understand your question. I mean, you don't have to be necessary in a consortium to apply for CFC financing. A company
Yes.
can do its own application for
Yeah.
its own company with its own business model. But if
Yeah.
you find others that you would like to work together to submit an application,
Yeah.
that's very fine. You can do it. The more, the better. You can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We lost you, Andre.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
interest.
We do have 2 raised hands from the same account, India Belgarbi. Please be concise.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm sorry for insisting.
No, that's
You
fine.
mentioned, and I really want to take this opportunity to ask the question myself rather than sending an email. So I work for an NGO in CAR, and we were interested to send a deep grant application. But in the chat, you mentioned that it's a custom instrument with 4 parties involved for the DIB. What could you please clarify who the 4 parties are? The NGO, CFC, and then I'm a bit lost on this topic.
The outcome sponsor and the outcome verifier. These are 4 parties. It's a relatively complicated instrument. Again, there is a reference in the application form that explains how the instrument works. There is a considerable volume of literature or practical experiences with development impact bonds available on the internet, but the CFC has been so far the only one who managed to do development impact bonds in the commodity sector. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think this is all that we have the time for. So my apologies that we do not have one raised hand as a question. Again, please email us at the address provided, as we should not exceed the time allocated for this meeting so far. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. We can now conclude. Again, we will email the link to the recording of this webinar and the slide deck to everybody, to all registered participants. Thank you, and please apply to the CFC. Please email us with the questions. Have a very nice day.